podcast is Come Here. I want to share with you a story. It's material I've kept in my shelf for many years, and it comes from a very famous source. His name is Anonymous. Sorry I wasn't able to get the name of the person who wrote this, but this is brilliant. The story went this way. Years ago, I was enthralled as I listened to a minister who for several years had faithfully served the church. His executive responsibilities had taken him all over the country. As he concluded his message, he told of one of the most frightening yet thought-provoking experiences of his life. He had been on a long flight. The first warning of the approaching problems came when the sign on the airplane flashed on, "Fasten your seatbelts." Then after a while, a calm voice said, "We should not be serving the beverages at this time as we are expecting a little turbulence. Please be sure your seatbelt is fastened." As he looked around the aircraft, it became obvious that many of the passengers were becoming apprehensive. Later, the voice of the announcer said, "We are so sorry, we will be unable to serve the meal at this time. The turbulence is still ahead of us." And then the storm broke. The ominous cracks of thunder could be heard even above the roar of the engines. Lightning lit up the darkening skies. And within moments, the great plane was like a cork tossed around on the celestial ocean. One moment, the airplane was lifted on terrific currents of air. The next, it dropped as if it were about to crash. The minister confessed that he shared the discomfort and fear of those around him. He said, "As I looked around the plane, I could see that nearly all the passengers were upset and alarmed. Some were praying. The future seemed ominous, and many were wondering if they would make it through the storm. And then I suddenly saw a girl to whom the storm meant nothing. She had tucked her feet beneath her as she sat on her seat and was reading a book. Everything within her small world was calm and orderly. Sometimes she closed her eyes, then she would read again. Then she would straighten her legs, put worry and fear were not in her vocabulary and her world. When the plane was being buffeted by the terrible storm, when it lurched this way and that, as it rose and fell with frightening severity, when all the adults were scared half to death, that marvelous child was completely composed and unafraid. The minister could hardly believe his eyes. It was not surprising, therefore, that when the plane finally reached its destination and all the passengers were hurrying to disembark, he lingered to speak to the girl whom he had watched for such a long time. Having committed about the storm and having commented about how he committed his way to be peaceful just by looking at the girl, he asked why she had not been afraid. And the sweet girl replied, "Sir, my dad, is the pilot, and he is taking me home." I have known of people who know their time is limited, yet they face death squarely with a kind of quiet dignity. They calmly face the inevitable. Why? Because they know that their Father in heaven is taking them home. I have met people who face tremendous challenges in life. They do not mumble. They do not fret. They know that life is a journey. And this planet is not their final destination. They know that one day they'll be home and it will be their Father taking them. People who are strong in their walk with Christ are people of the faith who know how to deal with fear. The God whom they serve is bigger than the obstacles they face in life. The reason why we go through troubles and tribulations in this world is because we are not yet home. Yet, but when we are in Christ, one day we will be home to be with the Father of all eternity. Meanwhile, we may fear. Yes, we may worry. We're humans after all. But never forget, we have a Father who will take us home. This is not home yet, folks. God bless you.